Can I please grab one large Domino's pizza with one garlic bread, one tub of Ben & Jerry's, 6 Krispy Kreme donuts, 2 chocolate bars, and a Pepsi Max, please? Because God forbid I had a full sugar Pepsi. No word of a lie, cross my heart, I swear that is the biggest binge/cheat meal that I've ever had in my life. That was about 7 years ago. And that was in one sitting. I polished all of that off in about 2 hours whilst watching a movie. Now, I just figured out the calories. It was roughly 5,820 calories. How fucked is that? And you know what the most embarrassing thing is, guys? A lot of you guys know that I've been coaching for about a decade now, just over, and this was about 3 years into my journey. So I was at the gym training clients flat out. And as a personal trainer, you're meant to have your shit together. You're meant to know exactly what to do. You're meant to be the leader, leading the way. And to be honest, that's the reason I've never shared this story before. But you know what? Sometimes I just learn the hard way. But the good thing about that is now my failures can become your success. So how did I fix this? Well, the very first thing I did was I hired a coach. And specifically, I hired a coach that I trusted, that had more knowledge than me about nutrition, and that I knew could help me get out of this and back into a good routine. And the main thing about that is I trusted them, and I just trusted the process 110%. But before we go on to number 2 of what helped me get out of this funk and this binge cycle, I want to tell you the first reason this happened. There's a couple, but the first reason this happened is because I was restricting way too much. I was restricting calories and I was restricting food choices. So I was basically eating nothing but chicken and sweet potato with a few greens here and there 5 times a day, every single day. Now, obviously, after a certain period of time, that's gonna drive you absolutely insane. So not only were the food choices, there was about 3 of them in the entire week, driving me insane, it was also low calories. So I was feeling pretty average all the time, which leads to very, very increased hunger and cravings. And also forgot to mention, what my coach did at that time was, obviously I told him my goals and all that kind of stuff, put me straight into a lean gaining phase. So I was eating about 3,000 calories a day, which obviously straight away got rid of that restricted calorie mindset. The second thing he did was he put stuff in like chicken sandwiches, a bit of ice cream for dessert, and then the rest of the meals were like meat and veg and similar to what I was already eating. So that also, then me just trusting him in the process, got rid of the mindset of like, oh, I just have to eat chicken, sweet potato and greens every single meal 5 times a day. So those 2 things there, he just put in a meal plan, instantly helped so much. The second thing that I did to help fix this binge eating issue is like after I worked with that coach, I was already on track. And then over the weeks and months, I simply just tested a bunch of different things and I found what worked best for me. And you gotta remember, this is like 7-8 years ago. So over the last 7-8 years, I've been refining this process. And now this is what we use with all of our clients and it works a treat. It's basically ticking these 4 check boxes. So the first one is gonna, of course, be your macros, because if you're not hitting your macros or at least your calories in protein, then you're never gonna get to your goal. Whether the goal is cutting or bulking, it's just not gonna happen, or even just maintaining. And then the second checkbox is filling. Try to make the foods as filling as possible, because that's gonna really help with the hunger and cravings, because especially if you are dieting, doesn't matter how good your plan is, there's gonna be hunger and cravings. That's just part of the process of fat loss. The third is simple and convenient, because let's be real, pretty much everyone these days is time poor, or they think they are. So the more simple and convenient you can make the meal plan, the easier it is to stick to. That's gonna keep you on plan as well. And then lastly, number 4 is enjoyment. You wanna enjoy the food you're eating as much as humanly possible, because again, if you don't, it's just gonna be an absolute shit show. And then I know what you're thinking, Alex, what about health? What about micronutrients? Well, thing is, what I've found is if you tick those 4 check boxes, the health and the micronutrients, which is like your vitamins and minerals, just completely figures itself out most of the time. And of course, if it doesn't, then you just go and add in more veggies and fruits and things like that. But that's pretty much all you need to do. All right, this is probably the weirdest transition I've ever done, but this has a meaning. Now, we're just getting real vulnerable with each other today, guys. So the second reason why I think this happened in the first place of me going on these crazy binges is because I thought that, no, I didn't think, looking back, I had some serious body image issues. And obviously back then, social media wasn't even as big as it is now. You didn't see 18-year-olds crazy shredded and jacked and stuff like that. But I still had them, because I thought being a PT, I had to be insanely shredded year round. And the reason I have my shirt off is to show you, I've just started a cut, we haven't trained at all yet, so no pump. I would have never, ever, ever filmed a video like this back then with my shirt off, because this is how bad it was. If I looked like this back then, this much, I would have thought I was fat. Not even kidding. That's how bad it was. And that's why I was driving my calories down. I was eating nothing but chicken and sweet potato, because the real reason was the body image thing and the body dysmorphia. And so I just want to let you guys know that if you might want to try get to that root cause of like why you're binging and stuff like that. Honestly, I think those two reasons, the first one we touched on before and this one, is the only reason that I was doing it. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, let's move on. Now the third thing I did to make sure that I fixed this issue for good was I had set goals. Now, I know that sounds insanely simple, but trust me, this actually helps so much, because like I was just saying, just trying to stay shredded year round is not a sustainable, and it's not a good goal to have anyway. It's not actually good for progress. So what I did was have specific cutting and bulking or lean gaining phases of the year. And the main thing was actually breaking them down and making sure that I wasn't just saying, oh, I'm just gonna bulk until I feel like not bulking. Because whenever I did that, I would bulk, you would see the body fat creep up a bit, and then you would automatically think, no, this isn't good, and you would go back to cutting. And same with cutting, if you didn't have a time frame on it, sorry, got an itchy nose. If you didn't have a time frame on it, you would just keep going and keep going and keep going, and then every week would be like, oh, just try to get a bit leaner, just try to get a bit leaner. So now what really changed the game for me is whenever I cut, it's always, I'm trying to get to a specific weight, drop a specific amount of weight or a specific time frame. So for example, right now in my mini cut, I'm about 10 or 12 days in right now filming this, and I have a specific time frame and a weight goal. So I'm trying to drop about 4 to 6 kgs in 4 to 6 weeks, which for me is pretty doable. And then I'll go back into the lean gaining phase. Now that changed the game for me, so I really recommend giving that a shot, seeing if it helps. And number 4, probably one of the most important things of all that helped me ditch this binge habit was not having any cheat meals, and especially not cheat days. And I know that one might sound obvious, but you'd be surprised, especially in the gym bro life, when you're getting into it, cheat meals are the end all be all. But that's half the reason that led me down that track as well. So what I do now is I simply try and make whatever food I'm gonna have fit into my calories, which obviously when you're not trying to stay shredded year round and you are lean gaining and your calories are higher, it's a lot easier. Or I simply have what we like to call a free meal. Now I know you might think that that is the same as a cheat meal, but it's a different mindset. When you tell yourself you're cheating, we generally associate cheating with bad. Therefore, we feel bad about what we're doing, the food we're eating, the amount of food we're eating, and then we feel guilty and shit the next day or the same day. So then we go into that restrict mindset and we try to burn off the calories or lower the calories the next day or something stupid like that. Whereas a simple free meal or off-plan meal is simply some food that you're gonna go out and probably have somewhere social with your missus or your mates or your family or whatever, and it's something that's not on your plan and it probably doesn't fit perfectly into your macros, and that's totally fine. You just have to go in it. You have to go into it with the mindset of, this is just a simple off-plan meal that I'm having, and it's not a all out binge, let me see how much food I can eat. And honestly, that's as simple as it needs to be. It is, again, like I always say, simple, but it's not easy. The few points I went over, that's all I did, that's all I changed, and now I follow those 4 check boxes that we spoke about earlier, and it works an absolute treat.